Nice. Wow.
Is it
Cool.
wow? For me, it's like
Yeah.
very underwhelming. For me, it's like, oh my God, this could be so much
No,
better.
but just the idea of having everything in there.
Welcome to another episode on the channel, and this episode is a little bit different. This particular recording is a little different because it's a recording from a training or like a discussion I was having with two of my good friends, Quinten and Valentine, about Webflow and how I use Webflow. And so part of the recording, we recorded it to just give it to a group of ours, but I decided to actually release it to the channel because I think it'll be useful for you guys to see how my website actually functions and how I've used Webflow CMS functionality to actually just make my life a little bit easier. With that being said, enjoy the episode.
So I can choose which testimonial I want to show on the homepage just by the fact that they're featured or I've selected them in the design. So for example, like these partner logos, they are, I believe, so if I go, yeah, so they're coming from this collection list as well, based on whether I have a partner tag on that item or not. So if I can go to the CMS now and show you, so under the resources, these are all this is a resources page that I was going to develop individually. So on my resources page, this is basically a list of all the tools and resources that I use in my business or have used. And so you can see I've got like this partner tag here, and then I've got an affiliate tag where I actually have an affiliation with Shopify, for example, or an affiliation with, or a partnership with Wix, or affiliate with Leadfeeder, like all of these different tools. Rome will be added to this list as well. And so this is a page that I designed once, and anytime that I add to this list, to this resources list, so if I create a new resource and start adding, right? So now it's already going to create a page under Rome Research under resources. And now I can populate like the short text that I want to show over here. The description of that thing is either for me or I can use that later. The icon will be the logo. The referral link would be the Rome Research link. So that's real. Let's just grab that quickly. And I'm not an affiliate or a partner with Rome, so I'll leave it there. And then I've got this category picker, which I'm guessing would go to probably productivity. Now, this is the annoying thing about Webflow is that you have to actually you can't type in the word. It's kind of, but yeah, it's here. All right, so if I go now, so let's say I want to go to that resources page. And if I wanted to go and change the design or whatever, what I need to do is on this particular block, because this block is one CSS item or one CMS item. In order to change the design on every single block, I just need to change something on this one. So if I wanted to change the padding, whatever, it would shift the whole page because it would apply that to every single. I think the main thing with Webflow, being able to label your classes and group them based on the hierarchy of your website. So it's, if you think of it as of your homepage would be all the main classes that you would have in all the main sections, because that's the most important page on the site. And as you get deeper into the site, you would create subclasses for certain things that you wanted to change or have customized that would look different to the homepage.
Right.
And in essence, I think that's where, for me, the power of Webflow is not so much the design is easy to do, but for me, it's the CMS, because with the CMS, I can now put a task in Notion for my assistant to go in and go create the graphic, because the graphic has got to be the same size for every single element, for every single item in this list. So she can go find the logo, go put it into Canva, export it out of Canva, shrink it down for smaller JPEG size, then upload it here and then publish this page. I don't have to touch this at all. And because of the design elements are all done on the front end. I don't have to stress so much about her breaking the website because I haven't given her access to the editor. I've only given her access to the CMS.
Okay. Pardon my ignorance, but what's a CMS? Content management.
Yes, content management
uh,
system. So that's this database. That's these each individual tables.
And
You're
yeah.
also using this for the blog posts and in the podcast.
Yeah. So the podcast, for example, these are all the episodes and different, obviously these have different fields. So I've got the description of the podcast. I've got the transcriptions in the show notes, the summary, which will show up on the front page, and the category of what this podcast was about. So I categorize every single episode, the cover artwork for each episode, how long it is, date published, the language, all of this. This is all like CSS stuff. And this episode ID comes from Buzzsprout, where I'm actually publishing the episode. And on the front end, let's see if I remember where this is. So if I go to the podcast template, which is where every single individual episode shows up. So this is episode 4 that is giving me a preview.
What kind of script do you use there?
So this is the script that Buzzsprout has given me, where all I needed to do was change the episode ID. And
this is great.
And the rest of it, I don't have to stress. So as long as my assistant goes and grabs the ID from Buzzsprout, this player will always just look the same, feel the same, be in the same place.
And if they change anything to their the way you approach this podcast, but the ID stays the same, you just change this script and every page stays functioning. That's wonderful.
So if I wanted to change like where this block goes or sits on the page, I would move this block, not have to deal with the script at all. In fact, I put the script in a year ago. I haven't looked, like this is the first time in like the whole year that I looked at it. I even forgot that that's how I did it. And then I've got also in this author section. So obviously this was a podcast episode where I recorded alone, but for example, this one with Andy was, and I'll go to it on the front end so you can see what it looks like. So like this is the podcast page, which shows all the episodes. This is an embedded thing from Buzzsprout. And then these are the individual cards for each episode.
I really like your logo, by the way, the image.
Thank you. So this is the player, right? And that's loading in from Buzzsprout with that script.
Yeah, that was the script. Yeah.
Yeah. And then over here, now you can see I've got the guest summary. I got his bio and all this. And that's because I've got this author block, which basically if I have a guest, it's going to add, or it's going to show, unhide all the things about him. And I'm going to be on every single one because I'm the host. And that comes from the author page, where again, if I have an author on the thing, in Notion, I just make sure that I've collected all the information, written out the text, and here's Andy's here. So he gets,
this is so cool.
He gets his own page. He gets like his title, the description, his image, bio. I got lots of fields here that I actually don't need. And then all his links for his stuff.
And so when you update this from the CMS, it's going to update it on every single page that mentions him.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
So if he comes on the episode again and he's like, no, I've changed my bio or my website has changed or whatever, I just update that table in the CMS, this one.
Not from the front end because...
And it'll update all the pages that he's on. Yeah.
If you did it from the front end, it would only change the page you're working on.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's...
And if you click on the guy, you have like also worked out some sort of a reverse.
No. No, not yet, because I haven't, like, I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So
once you have people on multiple times, etc., you have a possibility to do it reverse, like,
right.
Okay, he was on this podcast, this podcast, etc.
Yeah. So for example, that I've started doing on
sweet.
this resources page where you'll see the categories that I've got, right? So these are all the different things that I've spoken about or that I have on my list. Similar to how we would tag things inside of Notion or Roam for themes, I guess. And so like for these resources, I've got a theme for project management. And so I built out this project management page where it's like, okay, I've got videos about project management. I haven't written any blog posts, but I've got one episode. So, okay, cool. So I've got now a project management page.
And is that accessible publicly,
Yes.
that page? Okay.
Yeah. So, for example,
so cool.
There's project management again. The other thing I'm going to do on this is I'm going to show the tools as well, or the resources that are connected to project management. So it's like, these are all the tools that I recommend for project management. Like,
And can you hide like the blog posts if you didn't do a blog post?
yeah, I probably should.
Okay. Hey, and what about videos? Because that's something I'm going to mess with. You've made quite a lot of videos.
So same thing, videos database, 162 published here. And yeah, it's basically the same thing. This is the full video link because it's embedded.
Okay, full. Yeah.
Well, this is the full link, right? But
yeah,
on the front end, if I go to the video template, this embedded goodie here is also, well, no, this is a video element. So you don't have to do any script here because Webflow knows that this is a video element either from Vimeo or YouTube. And so it'll do the embed for us.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, so if I go to...
And here, these are just like the thumbnails.
Right. So I've got on the CMS, right? So that's the title, blah, blah, blah. This is the actual video because it does a preview of the video to make sure that it's working. Then I've got the thumbnail separately in case I didn't do a thumbnail on the video itself. A short description, which is usually copied over from the video anyway. The date that it was published on YouTube so that the dates are synced up. The category again, and this is the date published on the website. This is the date published on YouTube itself. And yeah,
cool.
Like because of that. So now what I was thinking while you were talking about the show notes and the podcast episodes, Quinten, was I think because I've got transcriptions of every single video that I publish. And I think I'm going to put the show notes here underneath this video on the website. So if somebody is wanting to highlight stuff on Pocket or Instapaper, that they can highlight and pull that into the things.
That would be great. You can just have the same page with a link to the video and the...
Right.
That is so cool.
So I think I'm actually going to do that for myself because that's what because instead of bringing the entire transcription into Roam, it's like only highlight the bits that are like really important and bring those in. Because like the intro and the outro and the, hey, hit the subscribe, like that's totally irrelevant to me. Yeah. It's only the highlighted bits that I really need. So I think I'm going to start putting the show notes onto the website as well.
Nice. Wow.
Is it cool? Wow? For me, it's like very underwhelming. For me, it's like, oh my God, this could be so much better.
But just the idea of having everything in there. But so far, I hadn't just thought it through, like what you can also do with what you can do with Webflow as well. The furthest I got right now is just with the friend of mine. We write like the weekly newsletter. We have now built a site in Webflow that hosts like all the newsletters in there,
right?
And the snippets behind it, which I'm tagging. So which is cool for me, but making it like this and tying everything that you make and do together is really like a real portfolio that invites you to roam around.
Well, so
It's
yeah,
cool.
and then it's like what I was thinking of doing was if I can get my notes in order, then bringing the notes in and then publishing from those notes, blog posts or videos or whatever, and then connecting my brain up to the actual website. So it's like, as I formulate ideas and stuff, publish and start publishing those things, it can become useful to other people too.
Yes.
Because my whole thing is like, I think I'm sitting with so much information in my head that it's just not publishable because they're all like half-baked cookies that are just sitting there. I'm hungry. I wanted to show you one other thing. So in Notion, I told you that I've replicated that. So this is the equivalent of that resources page. And each card here is a tool. So for example, Buzzsprout is not filled in. That's terrible. Trying to do an example. Here's Deadline Funnel. Okay, so Deadline Funnel is on the website on the front end, and it's basically exactly the same. Description, the website link, the category is mimicked here as well. The referral link, this is where I go and get my referral links, the image. So, and then this is my assistant, and it's like, okay, this is a new tool that I've just opted in for. Can you go and put this on the website? So this is kind of the behind the scenes. So we don't actually work on the website. It only goes onto the website once it's ready to go on the website. And then for the categories,
that's really good.
This is the list of all the categories, all the different themes. And then same thing here is I can go and see the content that I've published. If there's a video or there's something that's been published, or maybe a podcast episode or whatever. So I don't have to go onto the website to go see what is there. I can just go here and say, okay, And so from this list now, I can see that I need, there's so many content ideas that I can go here and say, I need to do something on CRM because I haven't done stuff on CRM or whatever the case may be.
Yes. This is like your ID generation machine.
Right.
Gives you an overview of what you've done so far.
Right. Like images, these are the tools that are connected. Yeah, lots. There's still so much work. Like the thing that is really challenging is with a website, that like from an SEO point of view, like you have to have all the metadata and you're going to have all of these things filled in. And so it's like, okay, wait, I've got this list of 50, no, it's much more than that. 54 categories. Each one needs an image, each one needs alt tags for the images, each one needs a meta description, each one needs a summary, each one needs a So it's like, I've just given myself 54 pieces of work over and above all the videos that I need to do. But the idea is that over time, these things start ranking and start bringing the website up. And I start getting known for these things as I'm trying to figure out who I am and why I am.
Cool. Is there a possibility to really link up like the CMS and Notion?
Unfortunately, Notion doesn't have an API. If that was possible, then I would zap everything over or use the API somehow. But in a way, I'm glad it's not, because it's like, I don't know, having too many connections feels like I need a place to just mess about. I need a place to just play around with stuff before I actually publish. Yeah. But yeah, for me, this is like same thing with topics. Like I have a list in Airtable of like 300 topic ideas that are just sitting there. That like these are all just titles that every time I have an idea of like, oh, this is I think would be a good topic, I just throw it in there, and it's sitting there. And so when I found Notion and I actually built these databases out, I was like, okay, wait, now I can actually start finding a way to incorporate this into my website, versus like on WordPress oh my goodness, to be able to update things on WordPress is a mess, because building a database in WordPress, you need a developer and you need like all of these other people to help you do it.
Yeah.
And it's just a pain in the ass to get anything done there. So, and anytime I did do anything on WordPress, I was always breaking it. So I was like, no, Webflow has these templates. And so it's impossible for me to break it. And if I do, I can just revert back because it's backed up on their servers. Like I don't have to stress about the hosting at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And at a decent price.
Yeah. And it's fairly cheap, actually.
Yeah.
It's about the price of Rome per month. $16 a month.
I've experimented with like the newsletter, but I'm also seeing this, Boran. I really think of like moving my or rebuilding my business website on this. It's so cool.
Yeah, your business website does need a rebuild.
Yes. Very much. It's like it really looks like a sophisticated 10-year-old site.
And very, very not innovative.
No, yeah. It's 10 years old.
Sorry to say.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's 10 years. Yeah, it was built 10 years ago. So it needs a big overhaul. But
with Webflow,
if I can pick your brain on some ideas in the future.
Yeah, sure. With Webflow, it doesn't have to be like a big overhaul, because you literally start with a template. Like this whole website I start with a template, pick the pieces that I want. In fact, I'll show you where the template is. So I've got a page. My video is probably going to freeze again, but that's okay. You can see Webflow, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go back to my pages and I go to here, this is the original Webflow template that I started with, which has all the main components of all the different sections. You can see I was playing around with the CMS here to try to get it to work. And so anytime I need a section, like I'm like, oh, I need a pricing section. Okay, let's grab this pricing options table, copy it, literally hit Command C, go to the page that I want to dump it in, or on the draft page, paste it, and then playing around with the design, because I've got something like, obviously these buttons are not formatted because the CSS is being used by somewhere else. But it's like, okay, I have this section already, so can I just edit from here? And I've got a bunch of these, like this is the second version from that template. And so you can see like majority of the sections that I need for any part of the website is here. So it's like literally just copy and paste the sections you need from existing free templates. And
you can actually copy paste from different templates.
Yeah. It's just what you do is you import it into your project.
Yeah.
And then copy paste them to different pages.
Right. Nice.
One final question, Baran, before I have to run for another one. What do you use for planning a book an appointment? Is that like an email thing, or is that like a Calendly kind of?
Yeah,
thing?
it's Acuity scheduling.
Cool. Why did you choose Acuity instead of Calendly?
When I signed up for it, which was about 1.5 to 2 years ago, Calendly didn't have the ability to do SMS, and I think the reminders were very limited at that point.
Oh yeah, like that. Okay.
And they could only allow 3, I think, on the free plan. So I signed up for Acuity because also the integration. So Acuity has if anybody books a meeting with me, they go into Pipedrive, and they also go into my Active Campaign. So they go into my email list and also into my CRM, because if they become a client, then I want to put a deal in there and do all the follow-ups and all that stuff.
Cool.
So that's why mostly. And also Acuity, because I'm big into advertising as well. Calendly doesn't have full integration with Google Analytics or Facebook ads, so they can't track all the events when somebody books a meeting. So for me, my leads, my advertising works when people book meetings with me. And so if I can feed Facebook all the people who have booked meetings with me, then I can get Facebook to find more people to book more meetings with me.
Nice.
That was the
Big
goal.
brother watching you.
Yeah.
Cool,
something like
guys.
that.
I have to leave.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Same.
Thanks, guys.
Oh no, thank you
Thank
as
you
well.
very much for that.
I'll see you guys.
Okay, so that's kind of a very long-winded way that I use Webflow. I'm going to be doing another training on Webflow and sort of building it out in a little bit more detail. I see a lot of Webflow websites where the websites are great, they designed very well, but the power of Webflow is not just the design, but also the ability to use the CMS as a database and be able to piece it together like a set of Lego building blocks or a, what's that, puzzle? What's that square puzzle thingy? I don't know. I forget what it's called. Anyway, there's a couple of other videos here which I've linked to as well. If you enjoyed the episode, do consider subscribing, hit the like, and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of how I've put my website together. Have fun. Thank you. Bye.